Hey, how's it going? My name is Emily and today I'm going to try and do a sewing video for you guys. I'm going to be doing a circle skirt dress pattern. While I was doing this, I was planning on doing 2 dresses, but I think I'm just going to do this video as 1 dress and maybe do a really quick speed through of the second dress sometime later on. So I'm not going to bore you any longer and I'll just jump straight into it. So I have this cutting board that I'm going to be using to cut out a circle skirt, and I haven't used this before. I got given it by a co-worker a long time ago, but I've always been meaning to use a circle skirt pattern, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. And for what material I'm going to be using, I have 2 over here that I have. This one I bought for I think $3 a meter from the checkout section, like super cheap. I have quite a lot of it, and it's just these like cowboy dogs. Okay, so I got frustrated with my mat because I just didn't like it. So I ended up just doing the traditional method of circle skirts using a tape measure. Recommends looking up online for a circle skirt calculator because it will tell you the exact measurements that you need to fit your body. I didn't use a calculator, I just did it freehand, and my one actually turned out to be decent but a bit of an oval. Okay, for comparison, I've put down a circle skirt, and obviously it's a complete circle on my ones. I don't think it's too bad of a circle. I mean, I do think it's a little bit ovally, but the more I look at it, the more I'm just kind of like, I might just leave it because it looks pretty alright. So I really recommend using pattern pieces that you have at home or creating your own to be able to help you with what you're making. I just used a top pattern that I had at home to create the bodice for this dress. I just had 1 piece for the back and 2 pieces for the front, and it made it super easy to be able to do this dress. So I'm using the Simplicity pattern 1425 and the pieces for D to be able to create the bodice for this. But instead of having the buttons down the back, I'm going to be installing a zipper. For my dress, I was looking to do a ruffled sleeve effect, but this didn't end up turning out. I tried using a capped sleeve with a half circle pattern on top, and it just ended up making it longer on the side and then shorter underneath the arm. So I don't really recommend trying to do it this way. There are a lot of tutorials online to try and do them, so I would recommend going and looking those up. I thought that I had recorded a whole bunch, but I apparently didn't, so all that I've really done is cut a spot for a keyhole at the front of my bodice and also pinned my side bodice pieces onto my front bodice pieces. On the back of the bodice, I've just put in some darts that will just help shape it and just make it look flattering on the body. I always like to try things on just to see how they look when they're pinned. For example, this was just a little bit big underneath the arm, so I would have to fix that up somehow. After fixing those up and sewing that tighter, I then sewed up the other seam together to see what it would look like when it would be completed, which fit me really well, and I was really happy with how everything looked. The next bit of sewing that I did was sewing the sleeves on, and I did end up changing the sleeves, not too drastically, but just to make them look a little bit better. And now I'm working on this part here. I've cut about 1 inch off, like coming down here, and I've made this bit in the middle. I tried to make it a bit more rounded. It kind of worked. Once again, me trying it on just to make sure that everything fits the way that it should. This looks basically exactly how I wanted it to look. So now I have to make some ties for it and also make a yoke for it. For the skirt, I just sewed the 2 back pieces to the front piece, and then in the end ended up sewing the 2 back pieces together as well because I didn't need a zipper in the end. I then used an overlocking stitch to finish up my seams. So from following the shape of the neckline and the keyhole that I've done here, I made I think it's called a yoke? Something like that, I don't know. It's like interfacing basically, just so that it doesn't fall apart. So I realised it's been a while since I've done the update, because I've done quite a bit because I'm working within a time frame before, so I just got in the sewing zone and totally forgot. Basically, all that I've done is I did end up extending the yoke, and then I folded it over at the bottom and sewed across it. I may do something to be able to keep it down, but I don't know if I'm going to bother with that. The other thing that I did, obviously, some little straps here in the middle to tie this together, and I've just, as I was sewing the yoke on, shoved those between. Straps are really simple to make. Obviously this is just a tube. Other than that, I haven't really done anything. I'm just pinning down the outside of this now, so that it sits nice and I can do a top stitch around the edge. So on the inside of the neck, I've just cut some notches, and they don't look good at all, but they really help when it's flipped over, just to make it sit really nice and neat. And then you can see when it's flipped around this way, it just sits like perfectly, which is what we want when we're doing this. And then tried it on one more time before I did end up sewing the skirt onto the bodice, and then I was all finished. And this was the results. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!